let's get into this, right? Obviously, we are getting promoted to A division. How does it feel, like overall feeling in terms of like whole bunch and by yourself as well?
Yeah, it feels very satisfying for sure. Satisfying because uh, we had a goal in mind at the start of the season. We had a process in place for that. We had a structure in place, roles and responsibilities. We had so much of discussions before the season, during the season, before the games, after the games. And when it all comes together, obviously it is very satisfying. I also feel like the entire team is relishing that success, right? Not just whoever performed well in the season is also feeling a part of it, whoever did not do also feeling part of it. And that's I think the success of Wolves, wherein it's not individuals, it's a group of friends, which is where it all started in the first place. Right? So I think that's how I would put it. Very satisfying and very happy and even more excited about next year.
Well, nice. So, do you ever thought at the start of the season, like, okay, we are the favorites. We might have a team which goes to A division, or we are the favorites for this division.
Honestly, I did. I felt like this team has a lot of talent that we should definitely get promoted. Right, whether we win the division or not, I wasn't like very sure about that, but we should get promoted. But it actually changed during the season, right? And now I think it's learning basically. During the season, because of some of the performances, not just with the losses, 2 losses that we had, it is also because of few other games where there were batting collapses, right? But I think it only helped us as a team and understand our strengths and weaknesses and where we have to work on and everything. And finally, we ended up with third position. But what I feel, if you ask me right now, is if you just put the talent in the team and just look at it in that scale, we are probably very high on the scale, right? With especially the bowling now. But what I think I didn't take into account is the inconsistencies with individuals' performances. That is bound to happen. Right? The talent, not everyone is going to perform at their talent level. Someone is going to get a 0 or a single digit score, and it's bound to happen. So that up and down is something that I think is a learning for us to consider going forward, because we cannot just say our bowling is top notch, because two bowlers might have a bad day on the same day, so which means our bowling level has come down and that will impact the game result, right? So we have to give that leverage or that cushion. So if we are 100, we should only consider say 80% for the average as for the season, right? So I think improving that 80 to 85 or 90 is what we should focus on rather than thinking 100.
Right. Can you just go over like how was your preparations itself for that particular season, for 2022 season?
So preparation, as I said, the best thing that happened to us as a team was what happened in 2021, where it brought us all together closer, and we all playing that DCL as a team,
right,
was the first step towards this 2022 season itself. So I think that's where it all started, and it just continued from there, where we did not really have an off season at all. Right? We were continuously practicing, and I could see a lot of our folks working on little things, be it how to play a certain stroke, or be it how to do a certain bowling thing, or everything. We also had fielding drills and everything, right? Now that that there was no off season where people weren't really working on cricket. So that is the big thing, and I think there is a culture of. I mean, we have long way to go, but there is a culture of fitness as well that has come in. Right, people are working on their fitness, and it is obviously you'll see the results on the field even without you realizing that. Okay? And then I think the biggest step forward we did was where we had our roles and responsibilities as a team. Right, me and Basu, we have had so much of conversation around what each one of us should be doing. So how does it fit into the overall scheme of things, right? So that I think was the one biggest thing that has helped us be where we are in this season, right? And it's not just we both discussing. Everyone knows what their roles and responsibilities were, which is like equally important. If that is probably the biggest thing, would be an understatement. So I think that's, and then obviously during the season, sticking to that roles and responsibilities is key, right? What happens is when that doesn't work, or when you have to lose a game, people tend to not back up your strategy and change your strategy. But that is, in my opinion, that shouldn't be done unless there is a very strong reason for that. But I don't think we had a strong reason like that. So we backed up our roles and responsibilities and continued with that, and it eventually helped us end of the season.
Absolutely. I know you mentioned earlier about we'll come to the other aspects. I know you mentioned about bowling unit, right? I want to hear from you about the bowling unit as a whole for the season, and I'm sure that was the main aspect of all three departments, which gave a lot of success for our team, even for the promotion, I would say.
Yeah.
Lot of times, opposition getting out for 60s, 90s, 140s, right? So what do you feel about our bowling unit? How do you take that for the season?
Yeah, I mean, without doubt, that is the department where we excel the most. If you ask me where we stand as a bowling unit, I will, without doubt, say we are probably at the premier level, maybe even the mid-premier level, just if you take bowling attack, right? And it's mainly because of the variety we have with the bowling, right? Even though we have right arm fast bowlers, but each one is different, right? Suraj, for example, is totally different from how you are bowling, right? And Shyam is a different kind of a bowler, and of course we have spinners in off spinning, Sriram Balaji, and leg spin others, right? So now, and of course Bhargav has been our new ball bowler. We brought him just for the swinging aspect. Though that's also an important thing, where we understand who's a bowler and where to use someone. So I think all that, and again it goes back to the practice and the confidence as a bowling unit. And you could see that in the, like you said, in the scores, right? You're not going to get consistently getting teams out without a strong bowling unit.
As a fielding unit, right? When we come to fielding department, right? The one game which reminds me is against Crick Minds.
We are a fit unit. Fielding wise, we have a lot of scope for improvement, which we all would agree, I'm sure. So, which is a good thing, because we are fit and we can only improve. But the intent we had this season, especially in ground fielding, has been excellent, right? The ground fielding has been pretty much spot on. I cannot really remember where we had poor misses on the boundary where it went for four and all that. With earlier seasons, we used to have that quite frequently. So that in itself means that you're fit, you're bending down, and the throws have been pretty good. I think catching is something that we can definitely improve. Even though we have taken some pretty good catches throughout the season, we've also dropped some. And again, it is something that's bound to happen given the conditions, wind and cold and everything. But there is definitely that's an improvement area. Just on that one game that you mentioned,
Yeah.
the biggest thing in that game was the intent, right? It was the Lanka ground where the outfield is typically you start hearing, okay, the ground is not good, let us be safe while fielding, which is fair enough. But then that game, we took the ground out of the equation. Right? We were just attacking and it was a young team against which we were playing, and they weren't able to run those quick singles which they are used to. So I think that's probably the game which we should take as an example for fielding effort.
Right, right. So yeah, absolutely. I'll come to batting department a little later, but do you miss the trophy in hand?
I don't. It would have been nice, but I think that whole getting promoted is giving so much of contentment that this is not really bothering us too much. I mean, obviously, if we hadn't gotten promoted, that disappointment would have been so much when compared to not getting the trophy.
We can hold Royals Cup though.
Yeah, we can go for stuff, absolutely.
Alright. Sure. See, as it when we get any promotion, when the team success, obviously each and every person involvement you will get, but there'll be some special performances you will see throughout who stand above everybody else, right? One of those performances would be Ekalavya, right? How would you take his performance over the season?
I've known Eka for what, 2 years, close to 2 years now. But even within that 2 years, I've seen so much of improvement in his batting, and his confidence has gotten high so much, right? And with Eka, it is not just the batting you get, right? I mean, of course, keeping is there. I mean, he's one of the best, I would say, with keeping in the Dallas region. But the energy that you get with Eka is an intangible thing that is
Yeah, you seem to be doing it.
you cannot really value. I mean, it is priceless on the field. Being a keeper with this energy, and he's a total package. I mean, we can talk so many of his innings, but we know that he's a champion.
Right. So obviously we spoke about our bowling unit as a whole, right? There are some special performances in that unit itself. One is definitely Suraj, right? He's been key part for the leading the bowling unit as a whole throughout the season. So what brings he to the table?
Yeah. So Suraj has been leading the attack. He's been very mature this season, and it is not easy to drive 3 hours and just take the new ball and perform game after game, right? And he's been doing that, which means he's mentally in a good space, I think, and he's conditioned his body also well, which we could see on the field. His stamina has improved, so keep it up, Suraj, on that front. And taking 2 5-4s is not easy in a season, which he has done. So his maturity has been, and people weren't able to score against him throughout the season, if I remember. I mean, there might have been one or two spells of his, but then that is uh, hardly something given the length of the season. And yes, I mean, and I would want to like definitely thank his commitment coming from Austin for all the games, and that is
I mean,
big
you
deal.
get like unlimited.
And other person I want to just call out is Sriram Balaji, because of the impact he has had in so many games. Right, he's been that bowler who's taken the key wickets in many games when someone was like taking the game away or playing very well. He comes in and he has this knack of taking wickets. Um, and so Sriram Balaji has been the other standout performer in bowling, and of course, given the fact that we have given the least amount of runs in B division from a bowling perspective. Obviously, we've had good bowling throughout. All of our bowlers have done exceptionally well, but I just wanted to call out these two.
Coming to the other part of the other aspect, right, which is the batting unit. I wanted to highlight a couple of partnerships in the season. One definitely was in Crick Minds against Crick Minds between you and Eka. That was very crucial partnership. We were 5 down, right? We had nothing left in the tank after that, pretty much.
I would say, I mean, there were so many other things I could think of. Since you asked that, I mean, we didn't have a lot of discussion or anything. Only thing that we spoke about was not to lose wicket, because we knew that we had all our main batsmen out, and they had the momentum, right? They were on top like 50 for 5 or something like that, so they had the momentum, and so we didn't want to give that. And honestly, I was just trying to tap and take sequence, right? And eventually, once we got a decent partnership going, Eka took over. He kind of started doing what he does best. So
Right.
I think yeah, it was a little blip, but I mean overall, I just wanted to say our batting has been revolving around you and Eka this season, right? Most of the games you made it pretty easy for the other folks following.
Certain partnership, it pulls you throughout the season, right? That was one kind of a partnership we believe that I think this is our season, right? That definitely was Suraj and Suresh.
Yep.
What was the feeling like being in a dugout for that particular game?
Yeah, that was like a really tense dugout, right? That day we were all like because it was a relatively low score, but we were still kind of struggling. But the way they played, right? They played as if we had 8 wickets in the bank. That's the way they were playing, because they didn't show any nerves there. So, and that's what Suresh brings in, right? That calmness to the crease, and I'm sure he being there with Suraj helped the overall partnership definitely to bring the calmness. So
Right.
that more than the runs they scored, obviously the criticality of the situation and the calmness in which they scored is what is standing out.
Right. That's absolutely one of my best partnerships as well
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the season. So my interview will be incomplete, if I don't talk about this. Tell me about Riser's game. What happened there? That was kind of a reality check.
Yes, definitely it was a reality check. Of course, we'll have to give it to the Risers team as well for the way they played. Right? It was because it was still played in a pretty competitive manner, and I think Sukesh, Sridhar, who were relatively new then, they were new for everyone, and we didn't know what they were going to do. And I think their partnership kind of help them score a good score. So but I will just say that well played to the Rices team there, because it was a competitive game, and it helped Wolves as a team to get better from there.
Right. Yep, that's true. I know your brother has played at highest level, right? I just wanted to get a glimpse of what does it take for somebody to play at that level. Anything, I know you might have seen him at a close quarter, right? What does it take to represent to that highest level?
Uh, it takes. I wasn't expecting this question, but I think it definitely takes a lot of hard work, because I've been seeing him since he was in his fifth grade, sixth grade, when he had his practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. He had to leave the house at 5 o'clock, take the bus, and go and all that. And this was happening not just for days or weeks or months, happening for years, right? So much of hard work, and of course, having a good coach is very important. I think he was lucky to get good coaches, and I think luck also plays a part. When your aspirations are reaching the highest level, right? You will definitely be going to a certain stage, but scoring in the right games at the right time. Say, for example, when the selectors are there, if you score something that's different than you scoring something that it is not being published, or not a lot of people are knowing about it, right? So that's the luck I'm talking about. But if you are consistent enough, I think you will do that.
Absolutely. Dedication and consistency.
Yep.
What I can take from that.
Yep.
What is the overall learning from the season, from 2022 season for you or for the team?
Learning a lot of things to continue, which we were doing, which is of course the process that we had set in, planning, right? You don't just go in and hope that everything will fall in place. There has to be a plan in place. The roles, responsibilities for everyone, right? And I think few other things are these are also like continuation. I think transparency. I think as a group we are a bunch of friends, right? It is just that there has to be a captain, so I'm leading it, right? So that's the thing. But the transparency we bring in as a unit has to be continued.
There's like no
And
rips in
of
that,
course,
dude.
like I
More than, like,
mentioned earlier,
three, I feel like, is all it is.
we will have to give some leeway for bad days for certain players. So we have to give that, and still do well. So we cannot just assume that everyone will play to their potential on all days. I think that's some one learning, which sounds like a no-brainer, but it wasn't for us.
Yeah, right. So any weakness areas you would like to improve, or any concerns do you see in that aspect?
I wouldn't call it a weakness, but definitely area for improvement is not giving away your wicket while batting, right? Putting a price on your wicket, and accountability. I mean, all these are pretty much boiling down to the same thing, because we have had both the games we lost were chasing not the high score, right? It was in the 180s. So, which means that we did crumble under pressure in those games, right? So that's something I think it will come as we play more and more games with experience. But with this unit, I'm like very confident that that won't be one of our problems in the future.
Any one moment you would like to pick from 2022 season? I would say, okay, I'll say two if you want to pick two.
I mean, I'm just going to tell a couple of things that's coming to mind. I think the one run out that Sriram did.
Oh yes, absolutely. That was very
Lanka.
joyful moment. Yeah, in Lanka against Rick Mines. Yeah.
Against Rick Mines. So that throw and that felt so good. For some reason, I mean, the fielding aspect is what is coming in mind. And of course, that knock that Eka played, right? That was a crazy one.
All right. So, one word on Royals team, because see, they have been unbeaten throughout the division. What do you like to say to that team?
Yeah, unbelievable is probably one word I would say, because not just because they won all games, the way they won it almost looked as if a Premier Division team is coming in and playing B Division League. If you look at the scores, if you look at their performances, and I'm sure all these has happened. There's been a lot of behind the work, hard work going in. That's how it has come to reality. Because one thing that stood out for me is, even they were in some pretty tricky situations during the season, but someone comes in and saved them right on that day, and it's been different people. So which shows the strength of the team, right? The total team. So I think that is what is standing out, and they've had an unbelievable season, and I mean, I'm sure they'll do great next year as well, and let's see how our match goes with them.
Absolutely. For providing the opportunity for us to be part of this season and to be part of his club. So word on Rakesh.
Yeah, Raki Bhai, first of all, a big thanks for giving us a home. Right, we were in a pretty tricky situation, and you as usual, like everything you do, it was a big decision, but you took it so casually, and you were like so generous in that sense. But once we came in, I can only say, I mean, I've only seen good from Rakesh, because the way he operates is he is very casual, right? But very professional at the same time, right? He gives you all the freedom you want, but still there is some kind of unsaid professionalism that he expects, right? And it's not easy to be like that, but he has a knack of getting the teams in that channel. So, and of course, everything that he does for the club, he's like, sometimes I feel he's like a crazy guy. So thanks, Raki Bhai, for everything.
Absolutely, yeah. We thank you for that opportunity. It was a great chat, actually.
Thank you. It was nice talking about and
Refreshing your
refreshing
memories.
the memories of the season.
Absolutely. Thank you.